Hello, everybody. Welcome on in to Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And tonight we have a good topic, and believe me, I'm going to make it worth your while to watch and everything. So come on in and join me. This is the interactive platform, and I welcome you on in. I welcome your comments. I welcome your questions and everything else and stuff. But we're going to get on in to the topic is personal hygiene. Yes. And look at that girl, and stuff. I told you I could draw, you guys, and stuff. So just wanted to first of all start off with that. Of course, I'm Nurse Charlene, and I've been a nurse for 21 years, consecutive years. I am an active duty licensed nurse. And yes, this is something that I'm doing that actually I enjoy. I didn't realize how much I wanted to teach. I didn't realize how much I love the fact of teaching and doing things like this and stuff. And I'm just so happy to be able to have a platform where I can express myself and everything and stuff. So you guys come on in and stuff like that. I know it takes time to warm on up and stuff, but hopefully this is something that you guys will be able to see. I'm putting other people on and stuff, but hopefully this is something that you'll be able to see and stuff, and just kind of check it out and stuff and see that what I'm trying to do is allow you. I want you to help me help you help yourself. Does that make sense? Meaning that I need you to help me by looking at the content and then finding something or a spot. It might not be for you, but it could be for one of your loved ones and stuff like that. And I'm sure that I have enough content to reach, most people and everything. I don't know why it's not letting me come on. Oh, now it is. Okay. Because I want to see your comments when you do come on. Good evening, Pastor Mayfield and stuff. Welcome on in and stuff. Yes, so the topic is personal hygiene. And before I get started, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm excited and everything. But before we get started and stuff, I want to read my podcast disclaimer. And this is just so that I keep on giving you the good stuff, and everything. And definitely, if you give me a little moment and stuff, because I learn too as I read this over and over and stuff until I'll be able to memorize it perfectly and everything. So it goes as follows. The podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your physician for any medical concerns. If you have questions about a medical condition, reach out to a qualified medical professional, your doctor. And then it says, never disregard medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you heard on this podcast. But that goes for all podcasts. You can't just say, they told me sea moss is going to get rid of cancer and everything. You know what I'm saying? So don't delay and stuff. You seek your doctor first. That's what they get paid for. Make them work. Okay. Guest views are their own and may not reflect the views of the host, me, and stuff, or this podcast. Well, mine. Okay. The information shared is for general knowledge, but I'm a professional and stuff. It should not be used for any legal or medical purposes. Always consult with a licensed professional, your doctor, who knows your medical history for a meaningful evaluation or to solve the problem. And stay informed, but always seek professional advice when it comes to your health. I am professional advice, but I just want to make sure that I'm not your doctor. I'm your nurse and stuff, and everything. But I just want you guys to do this safe. And we don't need microwave healthcare. We need to get into those doctors' offices and take care of you. Let them take care of you, and let me help me help you take care of yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. And Pastor Mayfield said, good stuff. We appreciate the disclaimer. That's right. Because, we got to cover ourselves so that we can keep on coming on and giving you this good stuff. And I'm always constantly researching. So all the other days, I'm not just sitting back. I'm on the social media right along with you. Oh, Seaboss and ashwagandha. And they do what? They make rainbows in there. Ooh, I'm going to give me some of that. I'll be trying. This get rid of cellulite, and stuff. So that's what we're, we all look, and stuff. Everybody guilty of looking. I don't care who you are and stuff, but you know what I'm saying. We want to be in the know. And now that we got all these devices and these iPhones and these Androids, and we play these games to keep our mind sharp, you don't even hear too much about Alzheimer's that much, or dementia that much and stuff, because we got all this stuff, and everybody's playing a crossword puzzle. And even, people in the ministry, like we got Pastor Mayfield on and stuff, they got beautiful Bible games and stuff like that, where you get on there and stuff. But guess what? It's affecting your mind, because now you're solving. God allowed Noah to build a what? And stuff. And we already know about the Noah's Ark, and stuff. But it'd be, ark. I know about all the Jesus stuff, and stuff like that, and you get all happy and you get on there and start playing, and stuff. What were the three Hebrews, or something like that and stuff. But it's messing with your mind too. So it's actually keeping your mind healthy and stuff. And there's so much stuff out there, and it's not just that and stuff. I just kind of veered off on something, but I'm talking about just in general. So guess what else? There's a lot of stuff on that's not just basic. Personal hygiene, what I'm talking about tonight. It's not your grandma's bar of ivory soap that everybody used, and stuff like that. It's so weird, because we got all these superstitions, and I just want to get you engaged by telling you this stuff. It's so weird, but I have to look this stuff up, so that I can give you the good stuff, and everything. And some of the good stuff is, we used to just have that bar of ivory soap. What we got now? We got us some turmeric soap and some hyaluronic acid. I can't pronounce half the stuff that I didn't gave all this stuff all these years. I can't even pronounce it half the time. But don't fault me. I save lives. And stuff. So as I'm going on with this, I'm saying, we got this body soap, and it smells like rose petals, or the rainforest, or it smells like fruit, tropical fruit, like you in, on a tropical island somewhere, and stuff, or whatever it might be and stuff. We got all these different things. We got all these different nobody just has an old towel. Here go my towel, and stuff. You got loofahs and all these little scrubbing brushes and dry brushes and blah blah blah, and stuff like that. We even changed up in this 21st century. We even changed up our toilets. They got toilets that got a easy flow, where the toilet don't just come down, bam, the toilet seat, clack, and stuff. That it go down softly and stuff. We got cushion seats. We got heated seats. We got seats that shoot water up in the little special places, and all of that stuff. We got all this stuff going on, and this is a part of it. Welcome on in, Miss Sandra, Rosetta, Granny Allen, Pastor Mayfield, and stuff. Welcome on in, y'all, and stuff. Get you some questions together for me and everything. And good evening. Yes, we're talking about, the topic is personal hygiene. And I just went off on a tangent talking about the basic stuff, the old school, like a bar of ivory soap. That was our kind of like one of our first soaps, and stuff from a long time ago. It came in that little wax package, and stuff. And it still smells good to this day. They still make it and stuff. But now you got Caress, you got Irish Spring, you got Dove, you got I don't know. Y'all name some for me. But anyway, you got all these soaps and everything and stuff. Then now you got body washes and body gels and scrubs and blah 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 and blue blue blue, and stuff, all this little fancy stuff. But it's cool, and stuff. We're just evolving and stuff. And then guess what else we got with all that good stuff and all those good mountain smelling things and stuff? We got rashes. You be itching up, you use the wrong stuff down there. So they got special soaps for women and even men that go in the intimate areas that they call it. You know what that is. Number one and number two. No, you know what intimate areas those are. The little front stack or so. Oh yeah, we got names for them. Back in the day, a man would call it a Johnson or something like that. I don't know what that means, and I don't know who Johnson is or what they were thinking about when they said that, but they said the Johnson and stuff. But for women, they got they got one vajayjay, poom poom, and stuff. That's kind of Jamaicanish and stuff, poom poom and stuff like that. And then you got another funny one and stuff. And don't y'all be laughing at me and stuff. Cootie cat, coochie, and stuff. But downstairs, and stuff. It was another one that a young man told me about and stuff, and that's wait, what I think I've seen a comment and stuff. Is there any reason why everything you eat, the smell comes out in your urine? Is that normal? Absolute good question. Thank you. And stuff. Absolutely. See now, welcome to Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. The topic is personal hygiene. And I just got an excellent question from Pastor Mayfield. And it says, is there any reason why everything you eat, the smell comes out in your urine? And is that normal? Absolutely normal and stuff. So that's why we are what we eat. That's literally the reason. So if you ate a lot of, let's say, garlic and onion type products, a lot of meat products and stuff like that, things that are hard to break down and stuff like that, because what happens is from our GI podcast and stuff, you put the food in your mouth, it goes to the back of your throat, goes down into this esophagus, and then from the esophagus it drops down into your stomach processes it, and then it sends it to the first wave, which is your small intestines. From your small intestines, it picks apart the food and takes out the nutrient and whatever good stuff and everything. It passes it on to one more. That will be your large intestine / colon and stuff. It processes it there, and stuff like that and everything. And then it gets it ready as a turd, poop, or whatever and stuff to be eliminated, meaning it has to come out of you. When it doesn't come out of you, it's a problem, right? But where is your intimate areas? Like for the ladies, your vaginal area, for the men, your penis, and stuff. Where are they? Are they pretty close to your butt? First of all, so that's the question, because we got to keep it in layman's terms for people that don't know and stuff. So I'm just breaking down the question because it's an excellent question. And that is, you see they're close together. For women, the anal cavity, and stuff, and your vaginal cavity, they sit right next to each other. So if you had all this food and stuff, and things that you eat, you are what you eat. And after it processes it and everything, it's still what it is, and stuff. They might have took the nutrients out of that onion or that piece of steak, the protein out of the steak and everything. But that elimination, that's fermented poop. If you leave your food on the stove, you ain't gonna leave it on there 2 or 3 days or something like that. You put it in the refrigerator at least, and then you don't even want to eat it after a couple days of it sitting in the refrigerator because it starts to sting. Why does a refrigerator stink? Why does your body, you eat what's in the refrigerator? So you see how that all comes together and stuff. So as you eat and everything, and it gets ready to come out, because they're so close together, they're in that area and stuff. So if you eat a lot of fruit, fruit don't ferment in the same way, so it's not as stinky, and stuff. So it may smell a little bit different. So that's why it's this one that kills me on Instagram. It's like I've been working 21 years as a coochie doctor and stuff. I don't know what they probably do that to try to be layman's terms, but I'm saying I worked 21 years as a coochie doctor, and if you eat pineapples, it'll make you smell like heaven, or it'll make you taste like heaven down there. Now I don't know all about all of that, but we grown folks, okay, and stuff. So you heard it. I know you heard it. Stuff. But I'm saying all of that to say that that's where that comes from. So certain fruits and stuff, you're more inclined to smell better down there in your anal cavity. So therefore, the vaginal or the penile area might be a little, smell a little fresher down there, and stuff. You have your scrotum on a man and your penis and stuff, and you have your vaginal cavity on a woman, and stuff. So even when you pee, if you ate too much of the wrong thing, or not even necessarily the wrong thing, just too much of a thing, and it's strong, it's gonna have its odor until it come on out, if that makes sense. So I'll leave it alone at that and everything and stuff. Welcome on in, Auntie Josie and stuff. All right and stuff. So I want to do a quick definition of personal hygiene. I know it's simple and stuff. And then I want to explain my board behind me because I'm proud of it. Yes, I am and stuff. So personal hygiene, it involves keeping all parts of the external body clean, including skin, hair, nails, teeth, and intimate areas. We're going to talk about that a little more in detail. You're going to hear a lot of intimate areas and stuff. It includes regular activities such as bathing, hand washing, oral care, and wearing clean clothes. Okay. And stuff. And then for women, this also covers menstrual hygiene. It's a part of life. Like I said, I hope it's grown folks on here so that you understand what I'm talking about, because I got to be frank, or I shouldn't even get on at all, and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and work it out and stuff. And for men, it covers genital hygiene, and that's emphasized with as a part of personal hygiene as a whole. So we're not leaving one female, just doing female or just doing male. We're doing both. Come on in, ask some questions and stuff. It's personal hygiene. Beautiful, Maria. Okay, and stuff. So this is one thing that I had to look this up and stuff. So I was like, oh, it's so weird, but it makes sense. Symptoms of poor hygiene. This is not anybody directing at anybody. This is symptoms of it. Hello, Miss Mary. Come on in. Yes, this is personal hygiene tonight. And I'm just getting into the real about it and everything. So I'm doing symptoms of poor hygiene and why we even want to use body soap or brush our teeth or whatever and so. And I'm going to give you some good examples tonight and stuff. I feel good and stuff. So one of the symptoms is body odor. Ooh, it's crack-a-lacking up under there. Oh, yeah, you ain't got no deodorant? Girl, you want me to go to the dollar store and get you some? Boy, you smell like onions. You know what I'm saying? So body odor. Dirty hair and nails. If you're like me, I play with plants all the time. I don't know if you can see them up here. See that? That's plants up there and stuff. So I mess around with plants. I'm a green thumb. Thank you, Lord. But I got a green thumb, so I love playing with plants and stuff and repotting them and putting them in dirt and stuff. And I get it up under my nails. And then I'm like, ooh, shoot, and stuff. So sometimes it don't come out. Then I be embarrassed, going to the store because I've been a nurse so long, we can't wear the nails, the artificial nails and stuff. And so it's just been a habit of me not doing it. The most I'll do is put some, yes, yes, Maria, bad breath. I'm gonna be talking about it. Yes, ma'am, and stuff. But one of those dirty hair and nails. You said bad breath. That was the next one. Good job. Okay, and stuff. And then soiled or unwashed clothes. Y'all got to wash your clothes. You can't just keep on do the smell test and then put them back on. They as funky as when you took them off. You don't just take your panties, turn them inside out, and put them bad boys back on. What if you get to an accident and then they be like, oh, look at them little crusties. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, but listen why. Because it increases. This is symptoms of poor hygiene. Because if you have symptoms of poor hygiene, you'll have increased risk for infections, like, and this is examples, athlete's feet. And did not hear bad breath on there, Miss Maria, and stuff. Gum disease. We need our teeth to eat. If you ain't got none, they got dentures and stuff, but that's afterwards, and stuff. But some people have certain genetics and stuff, and they get these things. There's a lot of things I'm gonna talk about. That's gonna be another podcast and stuff where I talk about the teeth and why they're so important, because they macerate the food so that we can digest them, and so the food doesn't sit in there and give us a bowel obstruction where the food just sits in there and then you're stinky because the poop won't come out. It stinks and stuff, and it got to come out. That's why you get your little Lysol or your little Wizard or Glade, and you have it in the bathroom and you might turn on the fan if you got one, and stuff like that. So this all gonna make sense. I'm gonna make it make sense and stuff. But then also for women and stuff, it increases the risk of poor hygiene. It increases the risk of urinary tract infections, vaginal infections like yeast infections, people that wipe from back to front. So you pooped, and then you wipe, and you bring the poop from the back to the front instead of from the front to the back. So these all come into play. Welcome on in, Kathy. I'm glad to see you here. I cried about you and told Sonia to make sure you get on and everything. I'm talking about personal hygiene. Welcome on in, you guys. Feel free. It's me. So feel free to be comfortable and to express yourself and everything. And I'll get to them as soon as I can. And in between giving you all the good stuff, the meaty stuff and everything. Also, a sign of poor hygiene, it puts you at risk for social withdrawal. You don't want to be out. You stink. You don't have a place to clean up. Or that's when you see the people outside and they're, homeless, and you can see they're disheveled. They look like they may have peed their pants and pooped them several times over and dried up and peed and pooped them again and stuff. That might be protection for them too, but also, yeah, they're going to withdraw. They're going to be weird around you, or that's what you're going to think is weird because it's already weird. You couldn't imagine yourself being musty and stinky and peeing and pooping on yourself, on purpose or whatever and stuff. But, some people, they have no choice. You don't know what they've seen or what they've been through. That's where I had the podcast on empathy. I'm going to revisit that also and stuff. But low self-esteem. I'm stinky, my hair all nappy, for some of us that got nappy hair and stuff. But, my hair all nappy. I feel bad. I can't comb my hair. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I'm just walking around musty, and stuff. That's low self-esteem. That's depression and everything. And it's perceived, you look like something's wrong with you. You got to be depressed. Anybody that's met me personally face to face, if you came up on me, my hair ain't done, there ain't no makeup on me or nothing like that, I'm musty, I'm tart in every place, and stuff like that, what happens? And guess what? If I didn't wash, what would I look like? And stuff. If I didn't brush these teeth, I'm glad I got some, and stuff. But I'm saying, if I didn't brush my teeth, what would they look like? If I even had any left to brush or anything and stuff like that. If I didn't wash my face, will my skin look like it looks? I mean, I'm just saying, and it's not a braggadocious thing or something, but I'm saying anybody that knows me or has been in personal contact with me or in some type of way, what if that happened? Or what if I ate something and my breath is just woo? Like, have you ever brushed your teeth or something? What would that look like? You would be scared for me. You would try to go, you would actually take it upon yourself as your sole mission to go wash me or something. You wouldn't let me be like that. I wouldn't let you be like that, and stuff like that. So I'm saying this to say that this is important. So we're not talking about just personal hygiene. Everybody got a shower. Everybody, supposedly got all these things. Everybody better have God too. But I'm just saying, everybody got to have this. So let me just go ahead and go over that real quick and stuff so that you guys see. I'd like to keep it exciting. So guess what we're going to talk about tonight? pH balance. What is that? Y'all gonna know after tonight and stuff. But I got me a little shower up here. Then look at it. I made me a toothbrush because I'm trying to work on me an illustration book, and stuff. So my little toothbrush, and nobody knows, nobody can do it or duplicate it because it's whatever I think of and what I saw, or something. But I got the toothpaste tube, and then that's toothpaste, toothbrush with toothpaste on it. Then look at that. I even put some floss. But look at the little string. It ain't black. It's usually white, or something like that and stuff. That's a little squeegee. I tried to make one of those ones that you get at the dollar store, little squeegee things that you can wash with and stuff and soap up with. They're pretty good at soaping up and stuff. And then you got a comb. I don't think they all look like that, but if you got special extra curly hair, you might want to use one of them. And that's supposed to be a brush. I tried and stuff. And then we got deodorant. Who uses that? I do, and stuff. And then you got I think it's conditioner and shampoo I put right there. Then we got this because a special person, I hope she's on or she's coming on and stuff. That's for her. That's one of those little dish bags. We was talking about that in the GI podcast and stuff. That's one of those bags. First, it was used for a woman for a douche. That's the first douche before they had Massengill and Summer's Eve and stuff. But it's also an enemy bag. I mean, an enema bag for kind of letting out, allowing you to poop. And then it comes with a little tubing, and it's usually hot water in there, and you could put things like soap suds or something like that in there, and then drain those into your bowels and stuff, and help you, poop out your stuff if it's stuck and you're constipated. I made a toilet. It don't look like mine, but it's purple today, and stuff. So that's a little toilet. I tried to do that with the little flesher so you could see it and stuff. And then we got a bathtub, a clawfoot. I don't know who got a clawfoot. I don't. I wish I had one and stuff in the shower and some little bubbles, bubble bath. And I'm gonna tell you about that. And then we got it looked like hand soap and powder and body wash in the middle, body wash and stuff like that. And that's a person's face with teeth. I see a question. I'm gonna come to you in just a second. And then that's a towel. See how good I'm getting? And that's a soap dish, the green part, and that's a bar of soap. Even though nobody uses that, they use the body wash right here. And that's a sink with water and stuff. So I'm trying to give y'all stuff about the bathroom. So that's about it and stuff on that and everything. So I see Miss Sandra, you said my question is my grandson, ever since 6 years old, have underarm odor that don't go away. He's 12 years old. I've tried everything. Absolutely. Thank you for that question. That's wonderful. And just remember, this is a non-judgmental. We're trying to help you. I need you to help me help you help yourself and your loved ones, if that makes sense. So with that question and stuff, it doesn't matter if it's a grandson or a granddaughter and the ages. We have nowadays and stuff, by his age and stuff, that means he's the 20th century child, 21st century child. So that means that he was born in at least the year 2000s and stuff. So the other thing about that is, because he's just a baby, and stuff. And even at 12, you still a baby, and stuff. You just reaching the puberty and everything and stuff. But that's the reason why you got to get them started on the deodorant, and they probably needed it because guess what? There's this mean little thing called hormones. And because we got soda and all these fake juices, fruit juices, but they only 17% real fruit juice, and then 800% of something else, and all of that type of stuff. The puberty and the growing. I see. Mary said it too and stuff. Growing that underarm hair and stuff early because of hormones. That's thrusting them into puberty earlier than normal. Because the 6-year-old is like a kindergartner. So you would think he's just a baby. No, or she just a baby. It can be the older comes, it doesn't matter if it's a male or female, and even a small child and stuff. You could start smelling that as early as probably about 3 or 4 years old and stuff. So this is all coming in to play. Maria also said things we eat play a big part in our body odor. Yes, that's why I want to get with you, Maria, and stuff, because you went, if I'm not mistaken, vegan. And I think it's because I remember that you're the only one that I really heard chickpeas a lot from, and stuff like that. And you changed your whole lifestyle and diet and everything and stuff. And it does show. You don't know it, but I know about that and stuff. But I'm saying all of that to say that yes, that I said we are what we eat, and stuff like that. And then these different lifestyles, because I'm going to be doing a portion on nutrition, and when I do, I'm going to do several on that and stuff. And so I might have to get you on, so you better get ready. No, I'm just looking and stuff. But I'm saying all of that to say that we are what we eat. So that's why sometimes we smell downstairs, but also the hormones play the biggest role and why we're thrusted into puberty. We're bigger and thicker than we were as little kids. We were little bony kids, little tiny little. You could take us if the wind blew too hard. We'll fly down up and down the street and stuff. And now they're a little bit thicker and buffer. You can put them on the varsity team at 7, 8 years old, and stuff like that. So where is that coming from? That's coming from what we eat. Literally, we are what we eat. So sometimes we could be a little obese, and so sometimes you'll even get rolls and stuff. Rolls of fat and stuff like that. And then you got to clean in between those. That's why I'm speaking on personal hygiene. It's not your average Ivory soap and stuff. I do also have. Oh yes, Maria said, "Okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm gonna get with you. I promise." Okay. And stuff. But another myth. This is just a fun fact that I want to throw in there and stuff. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit more teaching and stuff. But the fun fact: shower versus bath. I've known some people, in my lifetime and stuff that will never step near a tub of water, but they'll take a shower and say, "Hey, I'm clean." Because if you take a shower, you're soaping up and everything, you're wetting, and then you're soaping up and everything, and then the water and dirty water, your dirty skin or whatever comes off of you when you use your little loofahs or whatever and stuff, it comes off of you and it goes down the drain. So that means that I'm doing the best hygiene that there is out there. And then some people live by a bath, so that make me dirty. No, it don't make me dirty. But you sitting in the bathtub, so what? You got some bubbles in there and stuff. You sitting in the bathtub, but you in the same dirty water that you didn't wash yourself, and then you rinse yourself off, and you in that water and stuff, and you dirty. So is the beach clean? You in the beach in the water with strangers and the algae and at Alameda Beach is beach lice. I don't care what nobody say. Them little bugs and stuff be on you and stuff like that. But anyway, as I digress. But I'm saying you in there with the water, or you go to the swimming pool, or one of these little places, Great America or something like that, and they got a little water thing, and y'all all in the same water and stuff. What you doing then? And stuff. Ain't y'all all in a little chlorine bleach water and stuff together? Them is strangers. You don't know what they got downstairs or something like that. You just better hope that you don't get nothing from, you know what I'm saying? So let's not be super technical about that. It's about hygiene. Okay. I was talking about the shower and the bath. Some people swear by showers, some people swear by showers and baths, and stuff. So I'm not hating on showers. I do prefer a nice bubble bath with some Epsom salt. You should try it. And now they got bath bombs. I found out that I'll be itching when I put a bath bomb down there. Oh yes, Pastor Mayfield say, will apple cider vinegar help with your pH value? Oh, see, why you jumping ahead? No, I'm just playing and stuff. Yes, apple cider vinegar is a wonderful product and everything, especially to ingest it and stuff to help with your pH balance and stuff. So I'm going to be talking about some products and everything. So I'm gonna get to y'all. I'm telling you. So y'all hungry now. Now I got you. I got you pulled on in and stuff like that. So we ready and stuff. Thank you for all the interactions. I see them all. And definitely after the live, anybody I didn't get to, it is not on purpose. So never think that and stuff. But I promise you, I still will come behind myself after the live is over and I'll answer the question. So y'all got to come back and revisit. If you ask the question or you even said an answer, I'll at least agree with you, and stuff like that. And then maybe even tell you some reasons why and everything. So keep on asking the hard questions because somebody is too scared to ask. You do it. Absolutely, Pastor Mayfield. You said, well, you told us that. Heck yeah. I like that. I like that and stuff. You already know and stuff. So I want to say, some treatments for personal hygiene and stuff like that. It's regular bathing or showering or both and stuff. It removes sweat, dirt, bacteria. That's why we stink. It's bacteria. Shame on us. We don't want no bacteria on us if we can help it. Why do you think the hand sanitizer says antibacterial? Anti against bacteria. You see why that makes sense? Hand sanitizer. And sanitize means to clean. So hand sanitizer, antibacterial hand sanitizer. To clean your hands, and stuff. Okay. Y'all know about that. But just in case, somebody might not know. So that's why I said it and stuff. So the shower, regular showering and bathing, it removes sweat, dirt, bacteria, and it prevents skin irritations and body odor. It keeps body odor at bay because guess what? If we never bathed, I don't care how cute or how ugly or whatever you are, if you don't bathe, you're gonna stink because you're a human being. So, that's a gnat. He trying to come after my CO2. Get away. Where my little spray? Oh, look, see. This is called alcohol. Come on, Nat. You ain't get me. You ain't get me. I got something for you. And, where's that at? This is another thing. For anybody, Nats, because they're coming around the summer. And here is apple cider vinegar. Because they love that smell. It's delicious to them. But guess what? They already did in there because I put some Dawn dishwashing liquid, some a little bit of sugar, and some apple cider vinegar in there. And they go in there and they die. Except for the one that's trying to fly around in my face right now and stuff. But I got some alcohol for them because I don't play. But anyway, I'm human. Okay. So then we got hand washing. It's critical. Anytime you can wash your hands with hot soapy water cold soapy water, whatever it may be, you should do that first. If you out in these streets, you touching on the gas pump handle, shopping cart at Safeway, Lucky's, whatever, Winco, whatever out there and stuff like that, Walmart and stuff, and you pushing them baskets, somebody else touched it too. And if they dug up in their nose, you can't see that they dug up in their nose, then they put their hands on there. Now I'm gonna make everybody not want to use a cart, including me. But anyway, I'm saying all of this to say, where you think you get it? Why you think we get germs? Because we need to be constantly washing our hands. We touching that door, sliding that door. We touching that ATM. Boop, boop, boop. We got our stuff, and a dirty finger, and stuff. So I'm saying all of that to say, yeah, we got to watch that. And so that's when this is appropriate. It don't have to be, look, let me cover over that unless Perel starts paying me for doing this and stuff. But, just any hand sanitizers and stuff that say antibacterial and stuff, because you got to get the bacteria. Bacteria is what causes odors on your skin, but also that's what gets in your mouth when you, I got me a nice little cookie, but I just touched that little hand. Miss Josie, Auntie Josie said, do hand sanitizers work? They absolutely do work. Yes, they do and stuff. And hand sanitizers is the thing that's probably saving all of us from dying when we're out in the streets. Where's the sink out in the streets? When you at the gas station or something, maybe if you go to the bathroom in there, if you come out alive, or something like that, you might wash your hands with the soap. But that's why they have soap in there. Because you wipe your butt and all of that stuff. You should probably wash your hands. And then if you're in a public restroom, you need to wash your hands first. And then do whatever it is, pee, poop, whatever come out. And then wipe yourself. But if you got a clean hand, at least you almost can live, and stuff like that. And then you wash your hands after and you come on out. And stuff. They even stopped doing the paper towels because everybody touching the paper towels right there, and they're putting bacteria on it. So they got the little blower, and I like that and stuff. And they'll blow them dry for you, and stuff, because the paper towel sometimes could get caught up, and stuff. The machine ain't working. Everybody trying to dig up in there and get a piece of paper towel and stuff like that. Or, you mess up the whole roll of toilet tissue for other people because you got wet hands and you want to dry them and stuff. Come on, don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. It's a gnat. And you ain't going to fly up in my mouth because I'm going to fight you and I'm going to chew you up. But anyway, I'm saying all of this to say that it's the darndest things, but these things are what can, mess up our lives and everything. And stuff. They said, don't sleep on oral hygiene, brushing your teeth at least twice a day, flossing, and using mouthwash to prevent dental disease. That's something that a lot of us didn't get to scope and Listerine and stuff in time, and everything and stuff, including me. So I'm not judging anybody and stuff, but I'm saying you got to have your mouth game, your mouth regimen and stuff, so we can save as many teeth. A lot of us lost teeth. I've lost them, and stuff. So it does happen. So Auntie Josie said, when you use the hand dryer, do that carry germs? Most likely not, because guess what? It's just flowing at such a velocity down like a little tornado and stuff. It's just drying the water off of your hand so that it doesn't turn into bacteria. Because after it sits on your hand, and then then it can cause trouble and stuff like that. So you want your hands dry so that it doesn't get moist, because moist is like sweat, and then it catches what's in the air, because we're breathing this stuff in. That's why we should still don't sleep on the mask. Don't sleep on the mask. The air is dirty, period. Even before COVID, it was already dirty. You just caught a different kind of cold and stuff. So that's where all of this stuff comes from. And everything. What about Miss Kathy said, what about wet wipes? Absolutely. If you are fortunate enough to know, you could get them at the dollar store. They're very cheap, and you get you about three or four packs and stuff, and just have them in your car and stuff. Have one in your purse. Men have one in your back pocket or something, and stuff like that, or a jacket pocket and stuff. And when you get ready to touch your food and stuff, you construction and all day and all that dust flying around and stuff for men, but even women, you got it in your purse and stuff, because we're a little more intimate. Like, I know y'all, everybody has squatted over the toilet seat because you don't want to sit your butt down on the toilet seat. And they usually are dirty, depending on, and if it looks questionable, that's probably the dirtiest seats and stuff. Yes, that's true. But even the clean places, they still have dirty seats, because somebody is gonna sit on the seat, and they ain't in your household. So yeah, that's where it comes from and everything. So it does make sense. If y'all can understand what I'm saying and stuff, it does actually make sense and everything. And your teeth is absolutely, Maria. She said your teeth is connected to brain health. Absolutely, because where is it at? This is the area for the brain is there and stuff, but also, what goes in your mouth is connected to everything. Yeah. Maria said men don't be washing their hands because they hold their stuff and flesh, and some don't flush. They touch everything. Well, that could be true and stuff. They're not going to be as precise. We're all Mrs. Neat. We even fold the toilet tissue up a little bit, stuff, and get it down there and tap, 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 and pat, pat, pat. And then we try to go from front to back, because if we bring it to the front, we're going to have all types of little special vajayjay problems, and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's an art to wiping yourself. But men, you can't just shake it and stuff, and then and then that's the end of it. And don't be wearing them underwears the next day, and stuff. And this is nothing to tear down men. I'm just saying, don't be shaking it and then it go back in there and still a little dribble, and stuff. So you might need to pat 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 on the top, and stuff, and then put it back in there, and secure it or whatever y'all do, and stuff like that. I can't speak from a man's point of view because I'm not one and stuff, but I can tell you that it's good to do this. So men, before you touch your little special part, Johnson, pile, whatever you want to call it, weedy, or whatever and stuff, you need to wash your hands too before you touch it. And so everything shouldn't touch it, and stuff. It's sensitive too. It'll show you when it start itching, and stuff. Not just women itch, men itch. Okay, we got Pastor Carol said, or Pastor Mayfield, I'm sorry, said, I drink a lot of lemon water, which helps my gums too, and for your teeth, and to curb your sugar intake. Absolutely, that's excellent and stuff. Lemon water is good for that. But guess what else is good for? Taking down our belly fat, and stuff. We have a lot of belly fat and stuff, and the lemon helps cut that also. So it's good. It's high in vitamin C. It's super high in vitamin C. So if you could stand lemon water and stuff, it wouldn't be the worst thing to take and stuff. It's good for your throat. Pastor Mayfield, you're a singer, and so you need that throat coated and stuff, so you can get down and bellow out, hey, and stuff and everything. And so it's good for that, but also me speaking on here and stuff, and I have to talk a lot. You don't want my, and stuff like that. So lemon water is good for me. And guess what? I like it and stuff. Miss Maria says we shouldn't be wiping with tissue. We should be patting and don't go. Yes. So let me finish her sentence. She said we should be patting and don't go in the inside of the vulva or lips. We call them lips, and stuff. Don't get inside of there. I told my daughter, I said it's the cherry tree, and stuff like that. But whatever we want to call it, that's very private and it's very intimate. And guess what? It's the gateway to hell if we don't take care of it. Same thing with men. The tip of your penis, and stuff, that's the gateway to hell if you don't make sure that's clean. You know what I'm saying and stuff. This is real deal stuff, and stuff, and it's really strong. So you see why personal hygiene, which is the topic tonight, ain't just your average personal hygiene, and stuff. This is some real deal stuff. Now we get to the good part. So I want to revisit Maria's uh, thing about padding down there and stuff. First of all, the doctor's going to always tell you that you need to go front to back. You never want to bring boo boo to the front where you urinate. It's the automatic E. coli. It's automatic problems. You don't want those problems because anybody that's ever experienced it, and stuff, yeah, it itches. Woo, it itches. Yeah, I stopped laughing at the commercials. It was one called, I don't know if anybody, I'm probably dating myself, but I don't care. I live my life and stuff. But gynelotrimin, I used to be like, gynelotrimin, and be laughing at it and stuff. This is before nursing, pre-nursing and stuff. I don't think I was even 21. I was probably about 16 or something like that and stuff. But it was like, gynelotrimin. I don't know why I thought that was funny until one day I was itching. And if I tell you, if I had a gun, I probably would have shot it off down there and stuff. I'd have shot at it or something, stabbed it or something. I got knives now. I wouldn't dare do it and stuff because I know what I need to do. But I'm just saying, yeah, it ain't no joke. But if we're going to come on here and be transparent, we could get so much done. You guys can learn so much that, oh my God, and stuff. It'll just be wonderful. But I know we're talking about women and everything and stuff like that. I'm gonna still try to steer it back to the men and everything and stuff. But definitely the proper way to use the bathroom. Yeah, you want to pat because some of the tissue, first of all, we're in recession and stuff like that. We can't get the best little Charmin because they want to charge $900,000 a roll of tissue for these higher price more quality care type tissues and stuff. So we might have to get that brand that's a little more within budget, and stuff like that. But sometimes they leave a little extra cotton, it might behoove you to go ahead and use the other kind, like the Charmin or the higher brands, stuff like that, because they leave particles. And if they leave it in that special part between what we call the lips and stuff, it stay there. Yeah, exactly. It's funny, and it's nothing to do. This is real life. Why you think we got medicine? Why you think we got antibiotics and all of that stuff? Because we be itching. Something be happening, and stuff. When I get to sexual health, then y'all really know why we be itching, and stuff like that, and why we choose. Oh yes, Maria said bamboo tissue. Yes, don't sleep on the bamboo tissue, just like charcoal toothpaste, and stuff like that. They say that it'll break it down and stuff. Flushable wipes, but depending on what kind of system you have and everything. But Pastor Carol said flushable wipes and stuff. Maria said bamboo tissue and stuff like that because you're going to be itching. I'm telling you, oh God, we were going to be itching. I'm going to create something. A wise woman told me that I will get with a chemist and create something, the ultimate product. And when I do, y'all gonna see me on there. I'm gonna do all the commercials myself and everything. We gonna be itching. But I'm saying all of that to say, we just gotta be aware. If we're aware, I bet you won't itch as fast. I bet you'll be okay and you'll be able to catch it. And has anybody heard me say this yet? Your body is a snitch. If you're itching, that means you did something wrong, and stuff like that. So just remember, you could correct it though, if you know that your body is snitching, because nothing does this without doing that, and stuff. So Maria said it's itch free and it is the way to be. Absolutely and stuff. But absolutely, Maria said your body is a snitch. It is. It's gonna tell on you. And that's why it itch. And that's not the only thing that itch women. Men itch on the tip. And all of us itch in that back door area and stuff. Your butt, your booty and stuff, and stuff. So this is just being frank. We're talking about personal hygiene and all this stuff, it all counts and stuff. Thank you, ladies. You guys are doing wonderful. And we're not even done yet and stuff. So then the importance of overall hygiene. What it does is it prevents infections. It reduces the risk for illnesses like gastroenteritis, stomach and intestinal inflammation, which means a stomach ache. You feel like it's the stomach flu and stuff like that. And yes, Pastor Mayfield, keeping it clean. We got to keep it clean and stuff. And this is why, because you get that. You get colds and flus, you get COVID, and stuff. And remember, COVID is not over. That's another podcast and stuff. So then we got also it protects your mental illness, Maria, and stuff. You said this, right? It's connected to the brain and stuff. It does. Good hygiene, personal hygiene, protects your mental health by cleanliness, boosts your self-esteem. I smell good. I know I'm fresh. I don't know about you, but I brush my teeth. My teeth smell good. My breath ain't stinking, and stuff. And I don't have to put no gum in there and stuff because I'm doing what I got to do, and stuff like that. But it takes time to build there. And if you haven't yet, let this be the day that you start, and stuff. And it's little by little. If you only brush every once in a while and stuff, just start brushing once a day. And then as you see how good it feels and how less sick you are because you got bacteria and all that little gingivitis and all of that stuff, then you'll start feeling good about yourself and food will start tasting better and everything because you can get a coated tongue from not brushing. Gingivitis, that's when the gums swell up and all of that type of stuff. Not getting that tartar off your teeth and stuff like that. And only at the dentist or something like that and stuff. When you start doing that, you'll see that it's going to take care of you because you're swallowing. When you don't get that tartar off, it comes off into your food and it goes right down into your stomach and attacks everything that you live for and everything. So then it reduces social isolation. To be clean, it affects your mental health, but then you're not depressed. You have the wherewithal to get out and do your day. You feel confident, you feel fresh, you feel clean, you feel healthier, and stuff, energized, and all that stuff. That's what a simple shower or bath can do for you. It promotes social acceptance. They ain't gonna be like, I don't want to be around here. She better not come over here by my stuff and everything. She stinks, she musty, or he musty. You see his pants, they all tight, they all dirty and stuff, and all of that. That happens. I'm not making that up. I know I just said that like it's me. No, that ain't me. I got empathy. I ain't gonna come at you like that, but I will offer you some soap or something, if I see it's bad. And I hope you would offer me some, and everything. So get into that and stuff. And then physical health, it maintains your skin so you don't have all the, some people can't help the acne, and I'm gonna talk about that on a different podcast. But I'm saying, your skin will clear up the more you work on yourself. You'll notice it yourself. Nobody will have to tell you. You'll already know and stuff from drinking that water, drinking that lemon water. Doing this stuff, doing that regimen, always having your toothbrush game together, having your face game together. Certain things, we have all these products out here and stuff like that. It enhances your quality of life, and stuff like that. So it does that for you. So one more thing I want to do and stuff, and then I'm gonna kind of clean it up. I'll be done in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna go over a little bit because we had such good interaction and everything. Rosetta Granny Allen said, don't let your moon stink, in layman's terms, okay? So moon is a special word that's been coined from a long time ago and stuff. It's an extended family thing and stuff like that. But we're talking about downstairs, your intimate area, on a man or a woman. Oh, he just switching with them tight pants on. I know that moon stink, and stuff like that. That's where that come from, and stuff like that. It's funny and stuff. Ooh, she got some tight pants. Ooh, and she trying to shake that little moon under that sundress or something like that, or she got them tight pants on, she gonna be itching, or something like that and stuff. That's where all those little phrases come from and stuff. But it's all in fun and everything and stuff. But it's what happens, and stuff. Let's be frank. This is our bodies. We're human and everything. We got to know. But I want to talk real quickly about pH balance. Oh, he threw her pH balance off and blah 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 and stuff. And you like, pH balance? What's that mean? And stuff. Oh, I got to get the soap with the pH balance or the so and so balance and all of that stuff. Guess what that means? Well, I still don't know all the way, but potential hydrogen. If you've ever took any type of chemistry, which most people have and stuff, and some people didn't even care, but I did get an A in chemistry. But anyway, so now I know what potential hydrogen means and what hydrogen is and stuff. H2O is hydrogen and two oxygens, and stuff like that. That's why it's H2O, which is water, and stuff like that. So pH balance is potential hydrogen, potential water and stuff. And so it's a scale, and it's the pH balance and stuff is a scale and stuff. And so it's a scale from 0 to 14. And it tells how much acid you got in your body, how much alkaline you got in your body, or a particular part of your body. And when somebody throws off your pH, that means they made it go too much alkaline or too much acid, if that makes sense. I'm not going to explain all the way into it'll take me 10 hours. But what I'm trying to say is 7 is in the middle of 0 to 14 and stuff. So 7 is in the middle. That's balance. If it slides, is it below? If I'm not mistaken, if it slides below, I wrote it down here. Oh, if it slides below 7, you're too acidic down there, or any other place and stuff that your pH balance could be thrown off at, but mainly down there and stuff. So that would mean that it would set you up, because you're too acidic down there. It would set you up for yeast infections, urinary tract infections, and so on and so forth. That's where that comes from. They check your pH balance when they tell you to pee in the cup, and they dip it and stuff. And if your stuff is sliding too far to the right, you about to get one if you ain't itching already or hurting already and stuff. Or if it slides too far to the right, then it's something else, and everything. So I'm going to tell you. And so the other one is above a 7 would mean you have too much alkaline. But they say alkaline is good to a certain extent. If you can have a more alkaline body, but not too far up and stuff, then that's healthy for you and stuff also. But pH balance is 7, just period. I don't want to know the end of the discussion and stuff. So proper pH balance is crucial for organ function. Your heart, your liver, your pancreas, your kidneys, what else is the organ? Your eyes is an organ probably and stuff. But I'm just saying, your stomach is an organ. Your bowels are an organ. Your gut, all of this stuff is an organ and stuff. So for organ function and infection resistance, and stuff. So it's crucial that you keep as close to the balance of 7 as you can as far as a pH. You can even buy these at Walmart or CVS or some pH balance and dip your own pee, like you do a pregnancy test or something like that. And that's or for men too. So I'm not leaving you out. Men can also check their pH balance, because if it's off, you can send somebody into a yeast infection, or what they call bacteria vaginosis and stuff, which is kind of like a STI, sexually transmitted infection, from throwing their pH balance off. So it is a such thing as throwing somebody's balance off. Like they're totally fine, and then they sleep with you unprotected and stuff, and then they're itching, they're having problems, and stuff. That's where that comes from. I'm just saying, let's keep it grown and sexy and stuff. So also proper balance helps with hormone and metabolic regulation, meaning to keep your body functioning properly at the right channels and stuff so that other things, don't happen, like imbalances. If you're too acidic, you can get bacterial infection. Remember, I said bacterial is on the skin, so that's from sweat and everything and stuff like that. So bacterial infections, and then alkaline or alkalosis would be what do they have for that? Will cause respiratory problems, asthmatic type problems, COVID type problems, things you don't want to get into. But that's where all that trouble comes from when you're too when your alkaline is too high, and it's more like it's called alkalosis and stuff. That means it's above the 7. 7 is good. 7 is always gonna be good no matter what. But if you're too much above the 7, you more like a 13 or something like that, then you're too you have too much alkaline in your body, and it starts messing with your breathing. You don't want nothing that mess with your breathing, because guess what? You won't be able to breathe. We don't want nothing messing with our lungs and messing with our respiratory and how we pull in air and take out air and stuff. You want that comfortable. If I couldn't breathe, I couldn't be on here with you, because I couldn't talk because I'm out of air. Yeah, no. Anyway, also with improper balances of your pH, it causes a lot of vaginal problems. It makes you high risk for yeast infections. All I can keep saying is itching. I might even do a t-shirt on itching, and stuff, because it's that bad. Oh my God. And stuff. And so maintaining a good pH balance, and using pH balance hygiene products and everything will avoiding harsh soaps and stuff like that, or that's just what they had in the bathroom. No, look it up, because some things are good. They lotion certain places down there, keep things soft and keep the right things soft. They don't make your skin dry out certain areas and dry out your skin and stuff. That's why you got lotions and all of that type of stuff, because you need this stuff. It helps with your intimate hygiene so that you're not dry down there. And I know you all heard of that and stuff. It's not just because y'all chemistry wasn't correct and stuff. It's because you didn't put some soaps down there, all that peach and what other little fruity stuff down there and stuff, and you itching and you dry because you didn't scratched it or something. I'm just saying. Yes, Kathy, stay clean, not dirty. It's for your mental health. It's for your physical health. It's for your health, like for respiratory illnesses, stomach illnesses. Where you think stomach flus and all of that, they come from, you leave a pot on the stove too long and stuff, but you got to brush them teeth, because you swallow them down. When you don't brush your teeth, as you eat your food, it's working its way, some of that little pasty stuff off your teeth and stuff, and it's going down with your food, and now you got a whole inflammation in your gut. And then either you got diarrhea or you can't dookie, and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being frank, you guys. This is take me as I am and stuff. But what I wanted to go over before I kind of end the live, I gotta end it and stuff. I'm sorry, you guys and stuff. But before I get off and stuff, I'm gonna make sure I get this in. I'm gonna birth this baby, like a wise woman once told me, Pastor Renita and stuff. Hygiene products. Don't sleep on your hand sanitizer, but anytime you in the house or somewhere, or somebody else's house where you could go to the bathroom and use their soap and some, they little squirt soap, hand soap and stuff like that, use it and stuff. But when you out in these streets and stuff, and you got on your lunch break and you got dirty hands, put a little hand sanitizer. At least you did better than you did all the other days before, when you didn't use nothing and stuff like that. A paper towel just ain't gonna do and stuff like that. Absolutely. Pastor Mayfield said you can recap next week. I will definitely do that. That's a good idea. Excellent idea. I didn't even know it was gonna go off this good and stuff. So yes, definitely that and stuff. But You want your hand sanitizers. You want your disinfectant wipes. So yes, Miss Kathy said wet ones, those are excellent and stuff for wiping off your hands and stuff. Don't use no Clorox cleanup wipe on your hand because that's the only thing in the car. Use that for the steering wheel, and stuff. Don't use it on your hand. It's a chemical. It's gonna go in your skin, probably give you cancer after a while and stuff. So be safe about it, you guys. Changing your toothbrush. We can't sleep on that, but changing that toothbrush, I think it's every 6 months, for us newbies and stuff, and every 3 months or something like that if you super special with the toothbrush and stuff like that. Using the deodorants and stuff, find you some that works, because sometimes the sprays, they had spray deodorants and they'll rip your skin up and stuff. So just be careful what you use and stuff. Everything doesn't work. Maria said every 3 months. I figured it was somewhere like that and stuff. Thank you, Maria, because I learned too and stuff. But it's every 3 months and stuff. 6 months if you just getting started, and then after that, don't be going no years. I'm telling you now, burn it and stuff. And then and that's on the toothbrushes I was talking about and stuff. Using a little powder, just don't let it stagnate inside your pants, and stuff, or you're gonna be itching and stuff. You pat and stuff. It should not be a whole pile. So every time you drop your underwear, a big old half the powder is in your drawers and something, men or women. I'm just saying. It's nice to have it, and stuff, because it does keep you fresh and it can keep you dry, especially a cornstarch based one, and that's powders. Lotions. Don't sleep on the lotions. They're good and stuff. Try to get you the best ones are the most expensive. Hello, Miss Arlita. Welcome in. You got to come check me out some more and stuff. I'm glad you came in. I'm at the end and I'm about to get off in about 5 or 10 minutes and stuff. But you can watch the replay. So come on back again. Oh, Maria said Aero powder. That's a good powder and stuff. And that'll keep you dry down there, because we all sweat. And a lot of us, we got a little more curves, and men, we got a little more curves. You got curves too. They might not be shapely like the girls or something like that, but you got curves too. And so you might want to put a little powder to be fresh. Yes, thank you and stuff. And so feminine products for women. Now, men, I ain't sleeping on yours. That's why I said I'm gonna finish once I get both of us taken care of. So for the women, they got sanitary napkins for the women of age that you're on your menstrual cycles and stuff like that. And they got a lot of organic bamboo type sanitary napkins and tampons and different things like that. They're really stepping up their game with these products, making them a lot more safer than toxic shock syndromes and all of that type of stuff from us using the tampons and stuff like that. So this is a big deal and stuff. We're talking about personal hygiene, and a menstrual cycle is a part of personal hygiene and stuff. Also, we got feminine washes, and stuff. Yes, 100% cotton and stuff like that. You don't want nothing that breaks off and stays in there. And then when is it gonna come out? And stuff like that. So you got to be safe about what you stick in there, like douches and feminine washes and stuff, because a lot of them, even though some of them say unscented, because in actuality it's really true that our poom vajayjay, whatever you want to call it and stuff, shouldn't smell like berries necessarily, and stuff. So when you're trying these products, you got to watch out and stuff, because some of the products we stick up in there, they might give us a little special excitement. You're gonna be itching. Okay. But anyway, and stuff, they got Summer's Eve, Vagisil, Honey Pot, all these different products. You can look them up online and stuff, and just type in feminine products and stuff, and it'll give you a wide array. Look at the ingredients. You don't want nothing that's gonna soap up and suds up, because how can you rinse it off perfectly, and stuff, or you gon' okay. So y'all catching on to you gonna be itching and stuff. And so also for the men, they got products for you guys, and they're Mostly they said the best ones for men because they have a different part than us, but it still is just as important as ours, and that is a tea tree oil based product. It helps with being fresh down there, but it helps with stopping you from being itching because yours can itch too, men and stuff. So we gotta make sure we taking care of you. But they got some products, and you guys look them up. I have no rights to these products and stuff, and they're not paying me yet, and they're not paying me. But Dr. Squatch, like Sasquatch, and stuff. Dr. Squatch, Manscaped. Another one like women, they have a Lumi all over body deodorant. They have one for men from the makers of Lumi called Mando, and it's an all over one, and it's for men to put on athlete's feet, and stuff like that. Because men, this is one thing I did forget, is men, you have a growing, so there's a such thing as jock itch. That's jock itch is to our yeast infection, but also athlete's feet. It says athlete's feet. That's not just men get old stinky feet. No, women get stinky feet too. Athlete's feet and stuff. So making sure you wash those feet. Don't put on them same dirty socks that was on there. It's bacteria in them. You got to put them in a wash. You got wash them in the sink and stuff and hang them up to dry and stuff. You got to have more than one pair of socks, because when you come home from them hard days at work, men or women with them steel toe boots on, you need to be putting the powder and stuff, lotioning your feet, cutting your toenails and stuff like that. Just like women and stuff, we go to the shop. Y'all need to start going to taking a lesson from the women and go get your feet done. Go get your hands done. You got dirty nails. That means that dirty nails gonna get into your food and stuff and cause you some trouble and stuff. So definitely that and stuff. And Maria said, yes, look at the ingredients. That's very important. Look at what you putting in. You are what you eat. You are what you put on and stuff. Some stuff ain't made for you to, it might be good for somebody else, but it might not be good for you. You gonna be itching, and stuff. Maria said baking soda and apple cider vinegar is very good. But guess which else one that I want to add to yours? Boric acid. They have a spray, a boric acid spray, and then they also have the boric acid suppositories that you can put up in your special vajayjay areas and stuff for women and stuff. And guess what it does? Kills yeast infections. Boric acid, little tablets. They look like a capsule that you want to pop in your mouth. No, you pop it right down in that little special place, and then you go on with your life, feeling fresh and good and smelling good, and stuff like that. So they even have a boric acid spray, and you can put that in the intimate areas that get hot. Women that are blessed with, larger, breasts and stuff, and even small breasts and stuff. A little bit under there never hurt nobody. It kills bacteria. So guess what? That means you're going to be clean. You put that on after you take a bath and wash off all the dirt from the day. And then you put a little bit of that on and stuff, and you live your best life and get you some good sleep. So yes, Maria, boric acid is excellent and everything. And then Pastor Mayfield said, with athlete's feet, can you use your own urine to, what? I heard of that. I know that at a beach or something like that, you get stung by a jellyfish, you can actually pee down your leg or pee on it, and stuff like that. That's actually true. And it's the chemicals in your pee, because pee is a waste product, but also because it needs to come out of you, because if it stays in you, like you hold your pee, that's another podcast. But I'm saying all of that to say that pee does have some certain chemicals that are actually healing properties. You just got to kind of look into it more and stuff. So definitely that is one. And Miss Maria said, yes, since I've had my baby, I breastfeed, and my breasts have gotten bigger, and I get waste underneath, from the milk and stuff. And so I've gotten yeast infection. That Absolutely. A yeast infection is a bacteria from your sweat gone wild, or those dribbles from off the breast milk coming up under there. And then, your breasts are heavy. So they're sitting right on there and it's nice and warm and it get a nice, good environment. It only take a few minutes. Like, you guys are wonderful. And I thank you so much and everything. Maria said, I heard pee was good for athlete's feet if you pee in the shower on your feet. That's a good Don't pee in the bathtub. I'm gonna tell you that now. I don't know what it does, but I know that it can't just be sitting in there marinating with you like the dirty water that most people that don't like baths don't like that and stuff. But I think that is true and stuff. But I'm gonna look it up. How about that? Just to make sure, because that's a good, excellent question. That's what I'm on here for, you guys and stuff. I thank you and stuff. Pastor Mayfield said that you hear can help. Absolutely. On especially on athletes' feed, and different things. And it's a chemical in your pee. But I'm gonna find out before I give you like a definitive answer and stuff, so that everybody can find out, and you guys can go back to the comments and look at that and stuff, and we'll go back and forth on that and stuff. But these are excellent, excellent. Thank you and stuff. I said all the stuff, the whole body deodorants and everything and stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a part 2. Yay. Congratulations, you guys. Please come on next week, or you can catch the replay. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a 2-part so that I can tell you about this good part. And I'm just going to give you a teaser. Veggie and eggplant steams, which is a special one. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Yanni and stuff like that. So it's not FDA regulated, I think, yet and stuff, but it's just like trying rye coffee with adaptogenic mushrooms and stuff like that. This is Yanni. They have these pearls that a woman puts up in her, and they said it's supposed to have all these healing properties of getting rid of fibroids on women, PCOS, which is a feminine stuff. Also, they have the steams for the men and women, and they're supposed to decrease any enlarged prostate and everything and stuff. Wouldn't you want to know that? Because it's worth a try. They're going to give you a chemical, the doctor, and stuff. But what if this can help you? Certain things, like we eat certain things, like I know pineapples might clear up my skin, or you could go to a dermatologist and get medicine. You see what I'm saying? So everything is worth investigating. Let us investigate together. How about that and stuff? And then we could get to the bottom of this. So I look forward to all my little soldiers and nurses on there getting back on next week and stuff, when I'm going to have a part 2 of personal hygiene part 2. I'm going to change my board and I'm put all theme stuff on there and stuff like that. And anything that I forgot to talk about or didn't get a chance to talk about and stuff. But it's worth revisiting so that you really get it in, because that's what I'm going to do on nutrition. I'm going to do more than one so that we could talk about things like vegetarian diets and what that really means. I don't eat pork, but you eat some bacon. You just don't eat ham. Yeah, it's pork is pork, and stuff. I eat a pork chop, but I don't eat pork. Yeah, it ain't no pork or yeah. So if you can understand that, you'll know why I work so hard. Let me help you help yourself. I'm sending my love, you guys. You guys are wonderful. I love the back and forth and stuff. And I'm going to have fun answering your questions in the comments, and come back for next week for part 2, where we're going to get down. We're going to get down. And I'm ready. Write down your questions so you can have them for me, because we're going to blast through this. We're going to get it and stuff. But I thank you guys for staying on so long. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, Kathy, for saying great information. Arlita, come back on. My nurses, Pastor Carol, or Pastor Mayfield, Miss Maria, Miss Granny, and a couple others and stuff, y'all come on back on here and stuff, because we're gonna really get down, and I'm gonna really go into for Maria, I'm gonna really go into that and stuff, and why I kept saying spray, because I want you to actually get some of this spray, and I'm gonna come on next week with it also and stuff, so that you can put it under your breast to keep you from rashing up, because I did it during COVID and everything. Thank you, Kathy. God bless you too. Yes. And Maria said, have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for the good information. I appreciate you guys, but you guys make me better and stuff. And it's no me without you and stuff. If I don't have nobody to talk to, it'll get pretty boring and discouraging. But guess what? I'm coming on anyway, because somebody is going to need to hear it. And just one thing, if I helped you with one thing, or helped you help somebody else with one thing, I did my job. I'm good. I could sleep, well. I can rest assured that everything is okay. Thank you, guys. I'm coming back, and I come with care. I come to do this to show you guys that it is a way to make medical less scary. It is a way to get this information out in terms that you can hear of and stuff, so that oh yes, Maria, I'm sorry, I just want to say this one more thing. And so Maria said, and I love this, because I'm coming on with talking about the Yanni, but I want to go back to what she said, and it was, you just said it about let me find it. I'm gonna find this bad boy. You just said what I wanted to 100. Oh, it says that why I keep losing it. Oh, it was just a little ball with herbs in it, and it's wrapped real tight inside 100% cotton with a little string, like a tampon string, and you tie them together and you place them inside of you for 72 hours, and then it's supposed to shed your inner lining of your vaginal canal and stuff, and also pull poison things like fibroids and stuff through it, and different things that's inside of your body that we haven't exactly got rid of and stuff. Your white waste products in there, giving you a fresh vaginal canal and stuff, and giving you a fresh start and stuff. So it's worth investigating. That's all I'm gonna say and stuff. So look forward to it next week and everything. And like I said, I send my love to you guys, and I thank you. I thank you for caring enough about yourself to get on and listen to this nurse. I got 21 years. I am your healthcare professional. All right. Thank you so much. And y'all take care. And remember, your body is a snitch. Believe it. Thank you.